Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing a get ready with me Valentine's Day special while I do a story time of the time I got arrested in Russia, because yeah, that happened, so why not talk about it? That's all. Let's get right to it. Starting off with moisturizer, actually starting off with putting my hair back. My hair is away from my face now. Time for a moisturizer. I'm using my new moisturizer that I got for my birthday. Pretty cute. And it came with a little spoon. Okay, so the time I got arrested in Russia. Fun fact about me, I studied dentistry for 5 years in Russia. And well, technically it's only 4 years because my 5th year COVID hit, and so we didn't, I went home. But for the first 4 years, I was like a full-time student there. And I was in this little town called Tambov. Okay, moisturizer is done. We're going in with foundation and concealer. So, how it happened is, if you've ever been to Russia, they love, first of all, they love spring. They love their holidays, basically. This specific day, it was a holiday during the spring. It was Victory Day, so they call it Den Победы. Specifically, on the 9th of May of 2017. So it was on the Russian Victory Day. I had been in Russia for only 9 months. All I knew about this is that it was the spring, so everywhere was filled with flowers and everyone was happy because it was already spring, and winters are long in Russia, so it was already a happy day. And add on to it the fact that it was Victory Day, everybody was happy. Okay, in my town there was this parade going on, Victory Parade, and everyone was gonna be out and watching it, and I wanted to see what was happening. I was gonna have a great day, okay? I got dressed, I woke up in the morning and I got dressed, I didn't have school. Foundation is done, I'm gonna set it now. Okay, so that was the intro. Like I said, holiday, everyone is out. Obviously there's gonna be a lot of policemen, security going on, because it was an important day, and you don't really want anything happening on the parade. And the parade was actually going to happen on the main road line. They called it the Sovetskaya street, so the main street. I don't know if that translates to that, but it was the main street basically. And so they had barricaded all the entirety of the main street, because that's where the parade was going to happen, and no cars were going, no buses were going to be happening. Keep that in mind for later on. But yeah, no buses, no cars, no taxis, no Ubers, no nothing. Nobody had to go on the main road because the parade was going to happen there. So there was the Sovetskaya road, and then there were the not so main roads next to it, the parallel roads and streets where we citizens would be able to walk around. And every time you would go between two parallel roads, there were a couple policemen checking your papers and stuff like that. So I'm all dressed up and excited about my spring day and my first year of parade Victory Day thing. I love cultures and I love seeing all those types of things, so I'm really, really excited. I'm done with blush. I should have started with eye makeup. It smells so good. I keep saying that every time I use it, but it does. It really does smell so good. I got this as a gift. Thank you, Sway. Anyway, I'm gonna put on some lip balm right now. This is the color changing lip balm, by the way. I will be reapplying this all throughout the video. It's so good. It's my favorite thing ever. I don't need any other lip product aside from this one. Ever since I started it, it's so good. Back to the story. I was dressed up, I was excited, and I was just walking by the main street, okay? And so I was with a couple other foreign students. Actually, before I get into the main part, you also need to know something else. So when you live in Russia, you don't really have an ID thing. You only carry your passport, and because I had a foreign passport, there was this paper called registracja, which is your registration. So it says your name in Russian letters, your date of birth, where you're from and where you were living in Russia. So I had my registracja, but fun fact, every time you switch your living situation, you have to do a new registracja where you switch the place where you live. You have to have a registration where it has a valid address, basically. And anytime you spend more than a week in some place, you have to switch up your registracja, okay? But a few weeks before that, I was actually on a trip to Moscow because I was visiting a friend, and I spent in Moscow 10 whole days, and because 10 days is more than 7 days, I had to switch up my registracja or else it wasn't going to be valid. So when I was in Moscow, I switched up my registration thing so it had an address that was in Moscow, the hotel that we were staying at. I hope this makes sense. I'm going in with all the reds that I own, by the way. I'm gonna attempt to do a cut crease, and if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna do like a smoky red makeup look. But right now, I'm still going for the cut crease. So, I was at a town that was 6 hours away from Moscow, okay? When I came back to Tambov, I still had 7 days in hand to switch up my registration to my current address that was in Tambov. You have 7 days total to like switch up your registration again, okay? So it was a holiday and I was back from Moscow for like 2-3 days maximum, like just 3 days. And it was a holiday right now. So I literally did not have time to switch up my registration address to my current address that was in Tambov, okay? So does that make any sense? I was in Tambov with a Moscow address, but I was living in Tambov. So I had like 4 days to my disposal to switch up my registration back to my Tambov address, okay? Back to the main story. I was with a couple other foreign people, and obviously you're foreign, they're gonna check your papers. We were gonna go from one small street to the main street area to see the parade and like go to the mall and stuff like that. So me, a couple foreign people, we had to go through security. So they checked our passports and our papers, and the policeman was like, you have a Moscow address, why are you 6 hours away from Moscow? What are you doing here? You're a foreign person, you're on a student visa. It looked like a very sketchy situation, basically. And me, first year in Russia, I didn't study in Russian, like I didn't know much. I had only been there for 9 months and I don't really like communicate with a lot of people. I don't have any Russian friends or anything. I didn't know how to answer him. I didn't know how to say, well, actually a couple days in Moscow because my friend was visiting. Like I couldn't say anything. I just was like, I didn't know what to say. I got stressed out, and when I looked stressed out, he thought that I was hiding something from him. And in his mind, which is totally understandable, he was like, why is this girl 6 hours away from where she's supposed to be living? Is she hiding from the government? So yeah, at that time, he was like, yeah, we're gonna need to take you to the station, blah, 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 blah. My foreign friend, I don't even know who exactly was with me, but they left because they didn't have any issue. They just arrested me and they took me in this really scary like van type thing with the like a prisoner's thing. It was scary and I didn't know any word of Russian to like explain the situation. It was so scary, I couldn't say anything. So they took me to the station and they left me outside to like check my papers and check if my registration was actually like if I was truly in Moscow or if I was like, I don't know, they were doing their job. I was so scared and I had no one to help me. I did resort to calling someone who spoke Russian very well. I'm gonna cut my crease now, by the way. The only person that I knew that spoke Russian very well was someone who I was not on good terms with. It's a long story, but this person and I were on bad terms. But he was the only person that spoke good Russian, so I literally had no other choice but to go to him. And it was so embarrassing. So I call this guy and I'm like about to bawl my eyes out, and he probably in his head is like, why is this girl calling me? Like, we don't speak, we're not friends. I go, I just got arrested because of blah blah blah, and I don't know how to explain my situation to him. And yeah, if you can come and like translate what is happening to them, because I have no idea what is happening right now to me. So he just like gets stressed out and he goes, no, you have like 7 days total to get the right address to your registration, blah 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 blah, like stuff that I don't understand. But yeah, he was like, tell him this, tell him that, and I didn't know what any of what he was saying meant, especially because he was saying like words that were in Russian. So he was like, okay, which station did he take you in so I could come and like help you out? And I was like, which station? I don't know, it was a police station. I don't know all of the stations that are in Tampa. Like, I'm not this type of person, you know? And he goes, is it the one by this area? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. The car passed by a place that sold wedding costumes. I literally have no idea where I am. He was such a nice person. So he's like, it's fine, just wait for me, I'll be right down. They're just gonna check your papers anyway, and like once they see that there is no problem, they're gonna give them to you anyway. But let me still come and like help you with what's going on and with like translating everything to them, you know, just in case. So I'm like, okay, thank you so much. And I'm like waiting at this station and there are policemen everywhere. And then I was waiting a little more. And then remember when I said that during a holiday, there are no buses or taxis that would go on the main road and like you couldn't circulate? The guy had no way to come, basically. He couldn't come to me because he couldn't take a cab because there are no cabs available. He couldn't take the bus because there are no buses available. He walked for an hour to come translate the situation to the policeman because I was gonna go to jail. I had never been so embarrassed my entire life. I wanted the earth to swallow me. 1 hour later, I'm still at the police station. The guy comes and he's like, he can't even breathe first of all because he's been walking for so long. He explained the situation all over again. He was like, you know, this girl is fine, blah, 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 blah. And that is where the story ends actually. After everything was done and I had took my papers back and all that kind of stuff, it was already 6 p.m. It was dark outside, buses were circulating on the main road again. I didn't see the parade. I did get my passport back and my registration back, and like that was good, but I was still so embarrassed and shaky, and like I knew that I wasn't in the wrong, so like I wasn't so stressed out, but it was still like a very stressful situation. So this looks so bad. It's okay. It's okay. I'm allowed to go home and I sit with the guy and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I made you walk for an hour just to like help me out with something that could have been prevented if only I had switched out the address on my registration back to my original address like a couple days prior. Like, why did I wait? He's like, it's fine. Sorry, I think the camera just cut and I just finished the eye, makeup, the lips, and I'm gonna go with bronzer and then mascara and be done with the whole look. But yeah, to sum up the story, it was just an embarrassing situation, and moral of the story is always switch out your address and your registration paper if you're a student in Russia, because you never know. And I think for the following year, I literally didn't even like celebrate Victory Day because I still have PTSD from what happened. But all is good now. It's a fun story to tell. look. I'm really not satisfied, but I have no choice. So, this is the finished look. What do we think? I hate it, but I do think that it is actually a full-on cut crease. So that's actually a good thing. I should have like blended it more here. Maybe I'll do that. Wait again. Never mind. I feel like touching it, even the tiniest bit, was gonna ruin everything. So yeah, I'm just gonna end on this note. This is the look. Hope you enjoyed the story time. It was a funny thing to experience. It was actually a very stressful thing to experience, but it's still a funny story to tell. So yeah. Last step to the makeup is some Love Spell body spray. Ooh. Yeah, ooh, that smells so good. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and have a good Valentine's Day. Bye.